Oh, I do love when my phone crashes. It's so awesome. It overheats. I guess I can't blame it. I only make 6 trillion videos a day, so. So we had a little crash. Where were we? Arches Rainbow. I told you guys, it was funny at the start. People say, well, yeah, you're going to bring her back in when she's fat. Haha, what does that mean? And now it's, hey, when's the filly coming in? Filly's going to come in when she's ready to come in. And this is what I need everybody to understand. When you look back at, as remedial as Rose Run Why Not the other night, you can do it half-assed, and you can run into mistakes and injuries, or you can do it right, and you can still run into injuries and mistakes. But if you do it right, at least you have a better fighting chance. And when it comes to a horse like Arches Rainbow, what's the hurry to get her back for? Well, you want to make the last stake race with her? Come on. There's no real need for that. You're going to let the filly grow up and become the horse that we want her to be. And if she isn't, then she isn't. We'll deal with it at that point. I do want her to come back in when she looks really healthy. That's what, when I say, hey, bring her back when she's fat. What I mean is I want her back healthy and looking really, really good. Both her and Rosie's Masterpiece. I had somebody tell me the other day they didn't like Rosie's Masterpiece. On what grounds? Because she didn't trot in 57 as a 2-year-old? Okay, sell your shares. I mean, these horses are going to grow up at different times. We're all big boys and girls here. We're all adults. And we all understand that, one, most importantly, I can't make them be what you want them to be just because we all want them to be. That's the beauty of horse racing. No one ever knows, and I keep going back to it. No one knew Slim Jimmy was going to be a good horse. Didn't even know if he was going to be an effective race horse. Certainly not one of the best horses in the state. Same as Sweet on Pete. We all thought she was good, but she was heavy. How good is she? Is she going to be able to stay sound enough? No one knew. And that's the beauty of our game. That's what we all love about it. So for the people out there being concerned because a horse is turned out right now, yeah, sure it sucks. It doesn't suck nearly as bad as watching them get beat up on the track and prove that they may not be any good, rather than allowing them the time to do the best they can. So for the people out there sending messages, why isn't this horse doing that? Why isn't it? If it's forming a question where you literally don't understand or you'd like to know, we always have. I had a wonderful client the other day send me a message and said, why did we keep Brilliant Corners in the claimer? A very fair question, framed in a very polite way. And I explained that this is where he needed to race because this is where he was going to be competitive. We need to be able to race our horses in a competitive way, where they can be competitive on the racetrack. And I hope that Cameron sent the message. I hope he understood my response and accepted it respectfully. But we all have to understand, moving forward, there's been enough people with us for a long time to understand that we've proved things don't work and we proved that things do work. We want to stay away from things that haven't worked in the past, assuming they'll work this time or next time. Well, that's the definition of insanity, isn't it? To continue to do the same thing over and over and over again and expect a different result? Insanity. So, talked about Bomb Hugger. What happened? What's going on moving forward? I think the easiest way to categorize the Bomb Hugger situation is simple. She owes you nothing. Paid $32,000 for it. She got $106,000 on her card. She has raced her ass off all year. And for those of you that have somehow talked your way into thinking she is the best horse in North America, you are wrong. She may not even be the best filly in New York. In fact, I watched 2 that raced in the Houghton. One trotted 52-4, the other one 53 and a piece, that raced at Yonkers yesterday. One of them won. Nope, they both won and looked very, very good. So just be happy that we got a really nice filly that's been really effective this year. Cut her some slack because she made a break. Blame me if you want. But at the end of the day, we still got a very nice filly that's got 4 starts left in her. The Ontario breds, as I said, I'll get back to that. Almost there, boss. We're turning him out. Arches Rainbow's going to remain turned out for a while. Better Be Sawyer will remain turned out for a while. It's a filly that was sick, had allergies. It led to her bleeding. Need to give her proper time to get over that. Again, what's the rush to get her back? You can make the same money in November and December with her as you can now, theoretically. The only difference is she'll be much more matured when she's out in the field. So what's the rush? And hopefully a lot of these times, you look at horses and you talk about we don't know, we talk about Slim Jimmy. What about Century Invictus? 52-3, 52-4 the other night? Where'd that come from? Did any of you predict that he would, except for the people that bought him on sale day? No. This horse has really grown into a nice horse. A nice horse. And could be any kind of a 3-year-old. But this is from the hard work that Johnny, Teresa, Deb, everybody in Ontario have put into these horses. The hard work. Mario's burned, Harry's burned, Davey, and even Bobby and Nellie, everybody that works their butt off, Cindy, everybody in Ontario working their butt off so that these horses can show up on the racetrack. Century Invictus looked incredible last week. Grace, there's another filly, zero expectations heading into her training and racing campaign. Yeah, she made a break. She made a break at Grand River. She was sick. We got it all cleaned up. We took all the time to get her all cleaned up. She trained great last week. She's coming in tonight sharp. She's coming in sharp, and by all accounts, she's coming in healthy and sound. So we're hoping for a good day from Grace. Peanut Butter and Jelly, same thing. We turned her in for the exact same reasons. Boss, Arch, Sawyer. I think enough of them that I want to see them as sophomores. I want to see what they're going to do as a sophomore. But to do that, you have to treat them properly. Renegade Gypsy, I had, we had some people alluding to the fact that he's going to the Champlain next week. He's not going into Champlain next week. You're going to trot against those horses. You're going to race against those, trot him 55, 56. Remember, we're going to learn from our mistakes. You guys have short memories. Walk on the Moon last year. Thought the Champlain / Wellwood was a fair enough, and this is a very, very eerily similar situation. Not quite good enough for the Golds. If he was, we wouldn't have raced him in the grassroots last time. Not quite good enough for the Golds. Why on God's green earth would we race him in the Champlain / Wellwood? It's not happening. He's going to the next grassroots. And if we can't find an overnight between then and now, we'll qualify him again. And I think that goes without saying. I know everybody wants to see their horses race in the handball. Everybody wants to see them race in the big races. Sure you do. Nobody wants to see what happens next, though. Nobody wants to see their horse finish 10th, get the shit beat out of them, come off the track. Nobody wants to see that. And we need to start looking at what is reasonable. And the situation with Renegade Gypsy and Walk on the Moon, that is almost parallel. Almost the exact same situation. And I think Renegade Gypsy could be, and I talked to Mario, I said, listen, I hope you don't feel any pressure. I think Renegade Gypsy could be any kind of 3-year-old. Any kind of 3-year-old. He looked like a monster in Kawartha in the pouring rain. Let's keep him in monster mode. So he'll be going to the grassroots. I talked about Rosie's Masterpiece, and somebody was down on her. I said, I don't know why. She's well-bred. She's a good filly. She showed that she could go a little bit. She just wasn't ready. Big, gangly, goofy filly. She just wasn't mentally prepared to be a monster right now. So why are we asking her? Kick her out in the field. Stonebridge Acadi, we did the right thing. Mario did a great job. Immediately saw that the horse was a little off on the right front, took him up, found those lines starting, shut him down. They're all healed up. They're perfect. So he said, okay, so he's back training? No, he's not back training. For what? Why would we be back training? And again, if people are asking questions, keep in mind, I'm sure you have all received emails and you thought to yourself, what does that person mean by that? Understand that just because you send an email and it's in your mind what you're saying, doesn't really mean that I get it the same way, and vice versa. That's why if you don't really understand what I'm saying, don't hesitate to pick up the phone and call me or text me and say I didn't really understand what you meant. There's no stupid questions here. Feel free to pick the phone up, email me, call me, do whatever you want. But when it comes to Stonebridge Acadi, again, why would we start training them back now? It's almost September. We want some horses to race in the winter, have good sophomores coming back. Keep in mind, the long game here is, if you're not 1, 2, 3 in the grassroots, you shouldn't be in the grassroots, maybe top 5. But if you're like 14th on the list and you're trying to scratch and claw your way into the final to get your head kicked in, why bother? There's lots of money in the overnights. So Stonebridge Acadi will be ready in the winter. That's when they'll be ready. Tioga Sunshine, same thing. Somebody said, where's she at? Great question. That was a great question. I didn't update you what was going on because I didn't ask Harry. Harry tried to get her in right away. Wanted to go easy with her for a week. Got her in right away, and she didn't get in. So she's back in to go Monday at Grand River, I found out. So that's where Tioga Sunshine is. This is a filly, too. 2 starts, 3 starts. She looked great. Her last start finished up good, but she's got that big, gangly gait. You can tell. Put some muscle, put some heavy lifting and work into her as a sophomore. She could be a nice filly also. And then, obviously, my boy, 3 Point Blue Chip. People asking about 3 Point Blue Chip. Where is he? What's going on? I'm just checking the temperature on my phone here. 3 Point Blue Chip. Where is he? What's going on with him? He's qualifying Tuesday, first ever qualifier. And don't think that he's going to qualify and go right to the Champlain or the Wellwood, because he isn't. He's going to qualify once. We're going to reassess him and qualify him again if we want to. And then we'll go from there. If he races in a maiden a couple of times, fine. This is a horse that I think has all the tools to be a nice horse, but he is mentally fragile. Not to the point where he'll break but he can turn ignorant really quick, and I don't want him to. His attitude has come so far over the last summer, and physically he's grown so much. I don't want to give him any reason on earth to regress, to revert back to what we saw sometimes in February, March, where he just kind of goof off and not do his work. He's a worker now. He looked great schooling the other day with James. I saw a little snippet of him finishing up, and he'll be in to qualify on Tuesday. So for those of you out there saying, where's 3 Point? He'll be in to go Tuesday and to qualify. What happens after that? We have a multitude of paths he could go in. This way, that way. Anyway, Amy is down as trainer because Amy takes care of him. She took him back to Ontario. She's down as trainer on Tuesday, but she's not going to be racing him. I don't know where we're going to send him. I threw names around like Ben Bergeron and other people, but if he's not going to race in stake races in Canada, we can race him a little bit and then keep our eye later on. Keep in mind, this is a horse that I have eligible still to the Valley Victory. And I haven't seen enough to talk Valley Victory, Wellwood, and everything yet. 2 minutes is a long way from 54, especially for a 2-year-old. So let's see what happens over the next few weeks with our boy 3 Point. But I've been very, very happy. I got lots of questions, as I said, about Ontario. I hope I answered everybody's questions with Ontario. The 3-year-old sales, Heather messaged me the other day and then called me and said, I heard your message first glance. I went over this with everybody in the email or the video the next day after talking to her. Why we mentioned those names? Because we need to take a look. It's not just about having a nice horse that can go fast. It's about having places to race those horses. You have to have classes. And when you get up in the non-winners of 40 or 50, if you can't do it, if you can do it Mohawk, it's because you can pace 51. Otherwise, you're relegated to the B tracks. That could be the non-winners of 70 or the preferred 3. Now you're talking condition claimers. If you want to stem that free fall, so to speak, that's what we had to do with a couple of horses this year. The classes weren't going, and I had to sell them. So why don't we look at who's worth the most, when they're worth the most throughout the rest of their season, then decide which ones probably aren't going to stay. That's all of our sophomores. They're all going to go through the rigors of taking a look at, okay, how many of these paths are available for these horses at what tracks and what jurisdictions, and are they viable? And if we don't have a number of paths, then I think the best path would be to look at selling them. So that's where we're at now, but keep in mind, First Glance isn't going to be up for sale anytime soon. We're talking November, December maybe. Certainly not August, September, October. No shot. Talked about our 2-year-olds also, where they're at, what they're doing, what's going on with them. I think I went over most of them throughout the week, and again, if I missed one, I truly apologize. I'm doing the best I can, and if you really need to know, and I haven't given you adequate information about your horse, please just reach out. Say, hey Anthony, just wondering about this horse, that horse, what's your thoughts? I'm always available. And then last, certainly not least, is the Buckeye purchasing partnership. This was put together by us. A lot of people saying, hey, you know, I don't think it's fair that if you don't have 2,500, you can't get in right away. I get that. I understand where you're coming from. But a lot of these people, a lot of you people out there, you know, send me, if you see that we bought a horse, put your name down on a list, and I'll make sure you can get in as soon as the 3-day window is up. There has to be incentives for people to get involved, and I needed, in the past tense because it's full now, I needed people involved to make this work. I did. And I appreciate everybody reaching out. For those of you who don't want to spend $2,500, you should not spend $2,500. But all I'm simply doing is taking the purchasing, selling, and buying of the horses out of the hands of me, personally, financially, and putting them in the hands of our clients, which is only fair. You may not see as many shares on the stable.ca public market, but there should be plenty on the private market for everybody that wants horses. And I understand your trepidation. I understand somebody had messaged me and said, I think, you know, it should be your job to buy the horses for us and let us sell them to us. Wow. Easy, right? That's easy to say, but I don't have a $500,000 line of credit. I don't. And the stress of and I use the word cobbling all the time because That is the best way to put it. There is no, seamless action when it comes to me purchasing the horses, then paying for them and selling them to you. I understand you may want to buy a share of the $25,000 horse that we got, and you're happy to send me $250. But how do I pay for the rest of the horse? I can't do that 60 times in a season. I can tell you how I did it. I don't plan on repeating it unless I have to. And when it comes to our clients, surely to Jesus by now, you have enough trust and confidence in what we do and how we do it, both in locating, purchasing, and then developing these youngsters into the proper jurisdictions they belong. Surely we've proven that we're professional enough for you to get involved with us right off the hop. So I appreciate everybody that got involved. Keep in mind, if you couldn't, that's fine. Don't worry. There's going to be lots of shares for everybody out there. I just need to look at the best ways forward for us, for everybody. So that's where we're at. Geez, I hope I answered everything. I didn't want to. It's not that we didn't have a good day yesterday. It's depressing. We had one horse. She made a break. Yeah, it sucked. I was sitting behind her. I had to fly 2 flights to get to Yonkers and rush my ass off after getting my ass kicked to get 2 flights back to get home at 1:30 in the morning. You can only imagine how I slept. Had to get up this morning, go to the barn, went with Slim Jimmy. Here's some great news. Slim Jimmy looked great this morning, jogging. I heard Duke Dio trained good yesterday. Looked awesome. The races are going tonight at Scioto. Now, we scratched Spirit of Dio. She touched her leg jogging or something during the week, and out of a precaution, there was some heat in there, so out of a precaution, we just scratched her. Not the end of the world. My Jazz is going to go tonight, hopefully, and do well. Again, that leads into why didn't the other 3-year-olds go in there? It's quite simple. You have this is very important. Also, I should have started with this. The Sire Stakes and the Buckeyes are all labeled. There are 4 Sire Stakes and 5 Buckeyes. You can't race in number 1 Sire Stake and number 1 Buckeye, vice versa, all the way through. There is an extra Buckeye, but smartly, they put the 5th Buckeye on the same day as the Ohio Breeders' Championship. So the race that My Jazz won last year is on the same day as the 5th Buckeye. If you want to race for added money, you can't race in that Buckeye. It's on the same day. So the reason that the 3 fillies are at the fair rather than racing in the Sire Stakes is because they need Buckeye points. That's number 4 Sire Stake. Number 4 Buckeye, they wouldn't be eligible to race in. So that's a rule. That's why Purple Aura, 1, 2, skip a few, and Purple Aura, 1, 2, skip a few, and let me turn this air conditioner on. 1, 2, skip a few, and who's the other filly? Of Tom and the Buckeye. We're looking to get some Buckeye points for them. In a perfect world, we would have Buckeye final and consolation for the Sire Stakes. In a perfect world, that's the plan for everybody. The reason we didn't take I'm a Lovely Lady and Mama Knows Best to the Sire Stakes, looking for the same thing. They desperately still need those Buckeye points. I'm a Lovely Lady is in right now, but Mama Knows Best is not. The reason we put Rose Run Why Not in the Buckeye, I thought she earned it. I thought she raced good. She earned it. So that's where we're at right now. I hope all you guys have all your questions answered. I'm available all weekend. I'm going to be driving to Scioto tonight, staying down for tomorrow's races. Send me a message. Give me a phone call, text message. Be happy to answer any questions for any of you anytime. You know that. So, a very real and frank conversation with you, our clients, about questions that might be going on about the stable. It's not all rainbows and butterflies. Sometimes we have to do some serious work, and it's not always easy. So for those of you who sent the frank emails, I appreciate it. I know it sucks when I wake up and I got tough questions answered, but that's my job. I get thick skin and I can take care of it. So for Roger and everybody else that sent emails, I appreciate it. Thank you. I will talk to you all very, very soon. Let's hope for a good weekend. Sweet on Pete, Slim Jimmy, all the fillies are racing. Turn the page. I'll be back soon. Take care.